Iron Boulder Moveset Guide. Probably one of my next favorite boosted energy Pokemon, right next to Iron Bundle, and of course, the Flutter Mane, very popular, but we have Iron Boulder. For these builds, we're going to be going Jolly or the Adamant Nature. Again, if you guys have any suggestions, feel free to drop them down below on how you're using the Iron Boulder. But let's go ahead and get right into it. Got 120 base attack with the 124 base speed. Got a little bit more on the special defense rather than the defense, but it's still not a bad Pokemon. This thing is a physical sweeping Pokemon, which is, it's pretty scary. We got some heavy hitting moves like the close combat, Mighty Cleave, which is its signature move, bypasses protection without breaking it with the 95 power. Got Earthquake and the Swords Dance. You're more than welcome to swap out close combat for the Psychic Stab, which would either be Iron Head or Psycho Cut. Completely optional. Feel free to move around any of the moves in the other builds as well. Terra typing if you want to go Terra Grass, just for like some coverage, or you want to also add the Stellar on here with the Mighty Cleave, which is pretty scary. Along with the Earthquake, close combat, after Swords Dance, you're a sweeping monster. And the boosted energy is going to give us the speed boost as well. Moving on to the next build is a choice band build. We got the Mighty Cleave, of course, Psycho Cut, Sacred Sword. It's going to ignore stat changes, which is really nice, especially for those Pokemon that are like tanking on the defensive stats. We got the Throat Chop. This is actually really good against sound moves. So it could be really good against like Primarina, Sylveon, any of those like hyper voice boom bursting Pokemon and whatnot. You can also combine the Iron Boulder with a electric terrain setter, or just I think it's the electric surge ability as well if you're using it in doubles, or if you're just trying to set it up maybe with like a terrain extender. It could be really good and just really scary overall. But this is pretty much just a heavy hitting Iron Boulder build. Again, feel free to change the Terra type to whatever you may feel comfortable with. If you want to go Terra Psychic, feel free to go Terra Psychic. Terra Fighting is also really nice. Get that coverage for the dark type attacks overall. Moving on to the next build. It's a pretty fun build. I kind of like going above and beyond, like try to maximize the creativity with the Pokemon. Of course, you're never going to see anybody using Solar Blade, which is very like uncommon. But if you can utilize Power Herb with Solar Blade, usage going up against like a Gastrodon or even a Dondozo, they're not going to expect this. You can also even run Iron Boulder on a Sun team, just so we don't have to charge Solar Blade. You'll attack that same turn. It'll definitely catch people off guard. Not only that, the Sun will pretty much cover up your weakness for being targeted by like water type attacks, it being to its maximum damage, which would be really cool. You get a little support from the Sun. We got the close combat Earthquake, Mighty Cleave again. Moving on to the next build, we have I like to call it, the sub breaker. When you have loaded dice, we got Rock Blast. Rock Blast is very fun. I personally like using moves that have like multi-hitting, and Rock Blast seems to be like one of those ones, especially if we're going up against like a Mimikyu or anything hiding behind a Shed Tail that are just potentially trying to set up on you. You can break the sub and do some damage, break some sashes, and all that good stuff. We got close combat Earthquake and the Swords Dance as well. Moving on to the next build, we have this is going to be an Adamant build. Of course, the boosted energy is going to give us the attack boost, which is going to be kind of similar to the first build, but instead we're going to use agility, Mighty Cleave, Sacred Sword, Earthquake, and whatnot. Moving on to some other options, we have the Life Orb, You can also throw in maybe like a choice scarf with the adamant nature as well. Maybe you can use the assault vest if you want to run it that way. Expert belt, focus sash. I'm trying to see like some other options on here. Air balloon could be really cool to use as well. It's just some of the stuff that's not going to be very commonly used. You can always you'll be able to tell at some point like how everyone's using the Pokemon. But yeah, that's pretty much Iron Boulder. There's not too much craziness going on. It's pretty just self-explanatory. Just a physical, physical, speedy, offensive attacker. You got Iron Head, Mega Horn could be really cool to use. Some nice tech going up against those grass type Pokemon or Psychic. Anything pretty much affected the bug type. The accuracy is a little scary, but the damage will definitely hit. We got Wild Charge, Gyarados coming in. Any of those like water type Pokemon that can be a threat to the team. We have Body Slam as well. Let's see. I'm trying to see if this thing has some other options. If you want to run Iron Defense, feel free to do so. It also gets Poison Jab and Quick Attack too. I think I did come up with a little strategy on here. We do get Substitute on here if you're trying to avoid like Sucker Punch or some sort of like priority shenanigan. You can always substitute. X Scissor if you don't want to use Mega Horn. We have Endure. Let me see. I could have sworn there was some techie shenanigans that we can do on here, but maybe not. It also gets Taunt as well and Terra Blast. Feel free to run the Terra Blast options to whatever you might want to consider using. That would be really good for the Pokemon. Dang, I don't remember what I had. Iron Defense with counter, it's a little sketchy, but yeah, that pretty much sums up Iron Boulder. There's nothing, like I said, nothing too crazy, but if you have some other cheesy shenanigans or some solid builds, feel free to comment them down below, and I will see you on the next one. Peace.